Hey guys, this is Paul with the Virtual Investor. I have with me Mike today. We're going to do some deal reviews, current deals we're working on, ones we're in the process of, and I'm going to hand it off here to Mike.
Yeah. So, these are three recent properties we recently purchased through online auctions. As Paul has on recent videos here on the YouTube channel, he kind of gives a market update on what's going on in the process, and the REO auction inventories continue to increase. Speaking to the auction companies and just experiencing ourselves. So, here's one that we recently purchased a few weeks ago, and again, we evaluated it from a few different ways, right, Paul? So this one's in Liberty Center, Ohio. Just call it 40 some minutes south of Toledo area, right, where we have another rehab going on right now. And this property, again, it's manufactured home on permanent foundation. We found it through the auction company called Zone. Our all-in purchase price, so that includes any buyer's premium and closing costs, is $37,000 on the deal. We ended up using our own capital to fund this deal, so we didn't have to line up a private lender or anything like that. And what we kind of are going to analyze next here is, should we just wholesale this one as is, or should we rehab it a little bit, put some updates into the property and then resell it at a higher price?
Yeah, and then real quick, I'm going to jump in, Mike, because this is somebody we did a property in Toledo, or in the process finish up a property in Toledo, which is about 25 minutes from here. So we used our agent that we're using there, which is another REO agent, to come take a look at this property, get some pictures, analyze it, and give us some information on it. So we had a little bit of help from him too, because we're having trouble trying to figure out exactly what we think the value is. And it's hard for us to say when we're not there on the ground compared to having an agent there. He gave us some great info, but go ahead, Mike. Keep going.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Even if you don't have a great agent like we do in this area, you got to reach out when you're analyzing these REO properties, reach out to the listing agent. If there isn't a listing agent, find a local agent and, ask them for this information. Let them know that you'll use them going forward after you purchase it to relist it, or, renovate and relist it with them later. So great tips there, Paul. And then, let's jump to the next slide, kind of hit from an analysis perspective. And so kind of like, what strategy we're going to use, right? And this is our thought process. We're just sharing it with you guys here. So I'm just taking two different screenshots. And from the rehab analysis perspective, right? Let's go through that one first. Like I said earlier on the last slide, we're all in at 37, right? And based on our analysis, and again, talking to the agent as well, we knew if we put about 36,000 into upgrades, and, you have some transfer tax closing costs, we would be all in for, call it 75,000. And then we would be able to sell it, given the upgrades we made here, we'd be able to sell it for about $135,000, which is a nice about, $50,000 return, $50,000 profit, or 67% return on our money. So that's, from the rehab analysis process. Obviously, that's not quick and easy always. In this market, materials are sometimes out of stock. They take longer to get. Finding good contractors, you might find one, but they might not be able to start work a month or two later. So, you know what I mean? These are some of the challenges going on in the renovation space right now for homes. So that's option one there, rehab analysis. And we felt good about those numbers, right, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good about them.
Yeah. So, next we also look at it, multiple exit strategies in real estate always. This is the wholesale one. This is the quick in and out, no renovations needed. So again, we're all in just like this deal, 37,000. Here, we would do no renovations. We would just buy and relist with that agent we just talked about on the previous slide. Here's some closing cost transfers. So, all in just under 40. And again, we're selling it as is. Talking to the agent as is, he gave us a range of 70 to 90 probably at the time. Mm-hmm. We went conservative and used the 70 there. This is kind of a worst case scenario. We'd be walking away with 25,000. Again, less than this dollar amount, still a good return on our money. Yeah. Basically the same return on money. No work being done on it, Mike. That's the most important thing, right? We wouldn't do anything if we go this method. It's usually our first method that we want to do, but depending on if we want to maximize a return on a deal, sometimes we'll look at it, from a different perspective here. I mean, obviously 50,000 is better than 25,000, but when you're talking about time and the amount of money you have into it, with holding cost, with, if you have to get utilities turned on, if you have to pay a private lender, all these different things, these are all factors in it, which we all look at. Go ahead, Mike. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And, one way to think of it this way, this is, the old saying, a bird in the hand's worth more than two in the bush sometimes. Like you're going to get this money immediately. It's it's, when I say immediately, a month or two away. If you're selling to a conventional loan buyer, it takes 45 to 60 days to close. So, but you buy it at auction, relist it right away, find a buyer in 2 weeks, and then, close on it with them. Versus, again, rehab might not start for a month or two if you find a good contractor to manage all this. And then is it a month or two turnaround time? Are materials in stock, out of stock, all that kind of stuff. So here on this analysis, this could be up to 6 months easily, given all those constraints. So,
for sure.
So this is like your $2 or 2 month money look at, and this is this is if it's like 6 month hold. Think of it that way.
Yeah, agreed.
So Paul, what do we end up deciding on this one? What was that?
The ROI is almost identical too. So
yep. And then you want to share with them what we end up deciding on this one?
Yeah, what we end up deciding to do on this one is I talked to the agent again. He's like, I'd recommend a clean out. So we end up doing a clean out. We got a quote of $1,300. These guys knocked it out. They cleaned it up really nicely. And one of the weird things about this property, one of the reasons we got such a good deal on it, is because the whole driveway situation, right? Where the neighbor had put a fence up in front of the existing driveway because there's a way that technically that's their yard and they have a right to do that, but there's a means for us to get in on the backside there and create a new driveway. So that was deterring the bank to selling just any average Joe. So, we end up deciding to go this route just to maximize what we can get. And we listed at 89.9 and lots of showing schedule this week. So hopefully this is going to move quickly for us as is. And if we need to do the repair or a driveway, which we got a quote for, I think it's anywhere from $5 to $8 or $9 grand tops with removal of trees and everything in there to do a driveway. So we know what those costs are going in, and the inside looks very, very good. If we want to fix that more, we can, but I think Mike and I are just like, if we can get $80-some thousand for it and only have, $1,300 into it, I think we're going to go that route.
Yeah. And then we're going to be looking at a better number here then ultimately, because, if we get 80 something, that's 10K higher than this, right? And then we're only increasing our renovations by 1,300 for the clean out essentially.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's our real life current strategy we're using on this one. It's actively listed on the MLS just the other day. Again, bunch of showings, and maybe we'll do a follow-up video on, what actually happened, right? This is our thought process going into it and how we made a decision. And then we could kind of come back later once we close on it, like, close the loop on it. This is the actual numbers. This is what happened versus what we thought we could get. Yeah. All right. So that's property number one, Paul. We're going to go to the next one now. All right. So this one is in Pennsylvania. Again, another auction property. Again, this one we found on Zoom as well. Our all-in purchase price is $40,000. We lined up a private lender to fund this deal. And, originally thought we were going to do a full rehab on this. However, we have a local investor, contractor, agent friend in the area that, went out to us. But, we contacted and went out and visited a property for us and gave us more insights and intel. And then, Paul, you want to kind of share with us on what we ended up deciding to do with this one?
Yeah, because basically what he's saying is you're going to have to do a full scale rehab into this one. It would be about 30K, which there is margin to do. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of margin to do that on this one here. But 30K was like the minimum number that it was including a roof or anything like that. So we had 52,000 kind of figured in there, which makes total sense probably is what you'd be into this property. Be a good return. It would be a really good return. So that was one of our initial thoughts on that there. And then we had our backup plan also. Our backup plan was just listed as is, and we asked him what we thought we should. I'm going to give you some good news live here too, Mike. So 59.9 is what we listed at. We had a bunch of offers. I told you when somebody actually came to us with the $10,000 offer, which we just kind of laughed
very
at.
Comical. Yeah,
totally. But we yesterday somebody came in. They were going back and forth with our agent, and they came to $55,000 cash, no contingencies, closed pretty quickly. So we're going to do pretty well with this one. Obviously, it's a classic wholesale deal. We are paying realtors on it, so we do have to pay the $1,500 on each side, probably somewhere in that range. So $3 grand there, plus our holding costs with a private lender and everything. But we're still going to net over 10 grand on this one, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, that's great live breaking news there for this video right here. It's
figure make you happy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. So live reaction here. And again, we started rehab thinking this one, pivoted once we got some expert local opinion. The guy delivered, right? He said 59, you'll find a good number. We got 55 cash, no contingencies, as Paul just said live on the call. And like you said, we're still going to net 10 grand on it, but now we don't have to wait months and do all this heavy lifting work because this is new roof, redo the entire inside. This property needed a lot of love and care, let's just say.
Yes, it did. It did need more than we probably wanted to do with where it was located.
Exactly. All right, we're going to go to the third property here on the call. If I could advance these slides. Hold on one second. Oh, there we go. Oh, I must have skipped over the one property. Double clicked earlier.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Here we go. So again, this is the third property we're going to cover on the call. Again, we're going to walk you through what strategy we should use, right? You know, this is our thought process, how we analyze properties without visiting them. Again, this one is in Belleville, Illinois. Think of it as a east of St. Louis, Missouri. So it's a suburb of Missouri, but on the Illinois side. We found this one on Realty Bid. It's on a cul-de-sac. Our all-in purchase price, again, you know, with the auction premium and everything else, is $30,000. We're using another private lender to fund this deal. And again, we're going to walk us through the analysis on, do we wholesale, do we wholetail? And then, you know, ultimately, me and Paul didn't know anyone in this area. We found a local agent, and then we you know, got some good intel from them. They recommended contractors for us to use. We started calling local contractors to get quotes to help us with our analysis. And, you know, we kind of got values from the agent on what they think it is as is, what they think it could sell for fixed up, etc. So that's this analysis here on this side. Here's when I say rehab, this was more of a wholetail, middle of the road. Wouldn't be like a full blown renovation, gut everything type of thing. And again, we were 30,000 all in. We knew if we needed new flooring, new paint, new bathtub surroundings, trying to think of what else, new kitchen appliances, etc. That's the 18 quote that we were expecting. After talking to numerous contractors, I think the quote we settled on was just slightly higher than that. I think like 22K, if I recall it off the top of my head. So again, doesn't break the bank, but we kind of figuring out around there would be. We know conservatively 90 we could get given those renovations. The range is actually 90 to 105, talking to the local agent and looking at some comps. Again, for our analysis, we look at conservatism, right? Anything on top of that is a bonus, you know, icing on the cake type of stuff. So with this deal, contractor starts in another week. We're looking to walk away with a little over 30K in profit, or 67% return on our money. And then with the wholesale analysis, again, same purchase price. Talking to the agent, if we put nothing into it, you know, that quick money, he thinks you could really sell it for as is 40. This doesn't really get me excited, $4,400. So we decided not to go that avenue. And we're actually going to renovate this one and not wholesale like the previous two that we talked about.
Yeah, that's a great example of how we analyze them, right? You look at it, is that worth our time to wholesale and do here with what we have in cost? Maybe we get slightly more than that, but we're going off the agent's information here. Doesn't seem likely. So doing these certain repairs that we're going to be doing on a property, we're going to bring up the value quite a bit. And if we get on the low end, we're going to get net 30. If we get on the higher end, we're going to net closer to 40 potentially, right? So always go conservatively with your numbers, go lower, even though we're in a market that's going up in value. You never know what's going to happen with rates and all those things. So just always conservatively go low. And then if it comes out more, you're happy and you're golden. So this was a property that was a little different than the other two as far as what, you know, because the other ones gave good wholesale or wholetail analysis for us, where this one just told us really quickly, you're going straight to a wholetail method on this one. And we should do well. It's in a nice area. Now, the cul-de-sac area is obviously a very desirable spot to be. If you're going to live in a cul-de-sac, and, you know, the roads, I think it's got half an acre of land or somewhere in that range.
Yeah, a little over, if I remember. Yeah. So it's a good yard for a good family.
Storage, I think it has a garage, it has a storage shed, if I remember. There's just quite a few good things for family. What I think was a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom. So just an ideal type of property to do this on. And for a property you're picking up for 30 and say we're going to be into it for a little over 50 to net 30 plus is pretty solid. Can't beat that return.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to, you know, dollars might seem small to some people, but, you know, look at the return on investment, and that's less than 1 year too. You know, if you analyze it, it's even higher number.
Yeah. And this is the price points we target too, Mike. Like a lot of these numbers, we're in them for our 40 or less for a lot of our properties. And, you we've done more that recently that are higher and more expensive, but these are our like sweet spot ones because there's so many things you can do with them. You can rent this thing and cash flow it if you need to, right? Worst case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and we didn't even bother doing a rental analysis on this here because we're just looking to move these particular properties. If they were in an area where we're holding rentals, whole other group of analysis would go in here. Mike would pull up information from Retometer and we would look at that and analyze that and see what the cash flow would be. So maybe on future ones, we'll do that. I do have a property in Wyoming. I just got under contract, Mike, that I'm going to probably end up keeping as a rental. So I'm going to give you that information so we could do the analysis on that one too.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, so we'll look at that. Maybe next week we'll do that one in the analysis, plus the one we just recently picked up in South Carolina. So we'll analyze that one as well. We're trying to get contractor quotes on that one. That may take a week or two to get quotes so we can really give you good numbers on that one as well. But no, these are 3 great ones. Do you have any closing thoughts on it at all?
No, if you guys have any questions, just drop them in the comments section. We could help answer them, and maybe, ideas for future videos around this. We could kind of give you more live case studies, just like Paul mentioned on a few other properties that we just picked up.
Yeah, I love the live cases where you get to see in action. Some of them you'll see us while we're in a process. You'll find out exactly what it goes on, a couple weeks later, maybe a month or 2 later, depending on the property and what we're doing with it. But it's always better, I think, to get actual real property analysis rather than just theory out there. So we're going to try to give you a lot more of these with deals we're working on, deals our students are working on as well.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys. So make sure click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and hit the bell notification, and we will catch you on the next video.